The realm of greatness is not open to all, but there's a counterfeit of greatness. It's called celebrity and fame. If you want fame, you're going to be a prisoner to people's opinions. But if you want greatness, you're going to be scorned because you're brave enough to be unique. You've got to be brave enough to be different. If you're brave enough to be different, you'll be great. Success is producing the fruit of who you are, what you were designed to be fundamentally. It's operating by your design and becoming exactly what you were meant to be.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Need to Succeed podcast, where we have incredible conversations with phenomenal entrepreneurs and just to understand what is their need to succeed. Because here's the thing, two people can go through the exact same situation. One person decides because of the situation, they can no longer achieve the things that they want to. The other person decides because of the exact same situation that they absolutely must achieve everything that they have dreamed of. Same situation, different outcomes. What is the mindset of the successful entrepreneur? That is what we look to uncover on today's podcast. And today we do have an absolutely incredible entrepreneur. He is a man of many talents. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming, is it Mr.? Is it Apostle
Tobi is fine.
Tobi Arayomi?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be on here with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on here. I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. We've already had an incredible conversation downstairs.
We did. We should have recorded the one downstairs.
You,
Some of the best podcasts happen without the camera, I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can replicate
Maybe,
some
we'll
elements of it. We'll see how it goes.
Yes.
But one thing that I didn't mention to you is that we've got a tradition on the podcast.
Okay.
All right? I said to you, everything is free flowing, and it is. So we have two set questions.
Okay.
The first one and the last one.
Sure.
And actually, based on the conversation that we had downstairs, I'm curious and excited to hear what your answer is going to be for this first one. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. What does success mean to you?
Well, that's a loaded question. The best way I can describe it is success for, a lamb is becoming a sheep, kid becoming a goat, puppy becoming a dog, a banana seed becoming a banana. Success is producing the fruit of who you are. What you were designed to be fundamentally. It's operating by your design and becoming exactly what you were meant to be.
Wow. Bro, listen, I didn't know what to expect when I said that, but I've had a lot of people, I think I mentioned we're somewhere near episode 50 now, and there's a lot of different variations of what success means to people, and a lot of them are pretty similar. And in fact, the way people define success is how I would typically define it as well. Freedom, do what you want, when you want, however you want, autonomy, all of that. But that's deep. Now, that is deep. And it's difficult to really understand. If no one understands what you've just said, it's your essence. And we all have an essence.
Yes.
We might not know it, but we have an essence, and we either fulfill the promise of that essence,
Correct.
or we kill it.
Correct.
Without even knowing.
Correct.
I mean, isn't that I'm just trying to think of how to process that, because if you carry that thought with you every single day, it can either leave you really optimistic or actually really quite depressed if you're not fulfilling that, right?
Yes.
How do you process that?
It takes tapping this is part of our debate downstairs. Don't believe in God, or agnostic, or you're not an atheist, you're agnostic, or believe in God. If you believe in God, you're designed. You were made. You were crafted. It's that old William Paley theory. I can't go on a beach and see a watch and see it with all its order and organization structure and said, this happened to be here by accident. Neither can I take that watch and use it as a toaster. It would be an abuse, an abnormal use of its design. The secret of our purpose is our design. The fact that we all have over 7 billion on the planet, and not one of us is a replica. I have a twin, and we're so different. We're so similar, yet so different. Not one of us is a replica, is a testament that you were designed. You call yourself a creature, which means there had to be a creator. If you see a painting, there had to be a painter. There had to be a reason why that thing was there. And there's no more important question on the planet than why do I exist? You say need to succeed. That need comes from a why. That's why one of my favorite books is Simon Sinek's Start with Why, not with what. So many people go, what do I do? What do I do? What to do is not as important as why you're doing it. What's driving you? What's pushing you at the end of the day? And so what people unfortunately go to school for is to discover what to do. What we should be going to school for is discovering why we're here in the first place. I should be spending my whole time closing my eyes, shutting myself in, discovering, okay, this is my person. Success leaves clues. Our design leaves clues. Some of the clues are what displeases you, what agitates you the most, what irritates you. I'm not moved by the same thing you're moved by. And you might think I'm insensitive, but I'm just different. What moves you? What's your displeasure point? What agitates you? Or what gives you the most joy in this world? What would you do if nobody paid you to do it? And then when you discover well, why? What's the meaning that I associate with that thing? For you, it could be real estate. That's what you do, but it's not why you do it. Why you do it might be freedom. Now you're a freedom fighter for everyone. That means what you do is not important. If you went and, I don't know, help children who were trafficked, you'll probably have the same vim because of your why is more important than your what. Your what is how you express why you exist. And so that's why I say success is discovering your design. Why are you? And being brave enough to be uniquely you. So many clones in this world. Everybody is everybody. And that's why everybody's average, because everybody's average. To be unique, you have to discover what everybody's doing and do the opposite, to run away from it. And to be unique, you have to discover your uniqueness, your individuality, and to be brave enough to be that. I had a call from one of my mentees on the way here. She had a very sordid past, and she expressed her story on TikTok. She's a phenomenal leader, leads a whole bunch of young people in great ways, but she's never really shared her story. Her story was she came from prostitution, escort life, etc. And now she's getting backlash online. I mean, good things, but viral as well. 60,000, it's only been less than 24 hours is the level of views and comments that's going on there. And I said to her, the realm of greatness is not open to all. But there's a counterfeit of greatness. It's called celebrity and fame. So if you want fame, you're going to be a prisoner to people's opinions. But if you want greatness, you're going to be scorned because you're brave enough to be unique. I said, you've got to be brave enough to be different. If you're brave enough to be different, you'll be great. But if you want to be like everybody else and say what everybody's saying, and you don't want to be canceled and you want to join the bandwagon, then be a celebrity. But I said, if you want to be significant, celebrity is fake gold. It's false. It's not real. It's people will love you today and they'll kill you tomorrow. But in greatness, they'll kill you today, but they'll love you after they kill you. And that to me is what success is all about. You're a seed. You've got to discover the content of that seed, and you have to become the fruit of that seed. Even when life is burying you, so to speak, you have to produce the fruit of that seed.
That's incredible, bro. And just going back to the initial point that you made, which is, we will go into school to discover what we want to do. But I don't think anyone actually thinks about that in terms of if we went to school to think about why we're here, just collectively as a human race, I just think about how different the world would actually be. That's such a profound thought process. Yeah. Everything would be different.
Everything would be different.
Because it's a collective idea, because we're all humans and we're all on this bloody planet.
Yes.
And we're all thinking, why the hell are we here?
Yes.
So now we're all going to work collectively to find that answer, to understand. And guess what? Yeah. Because we're all humans, there's going to be some similarities, a lot of similarities in the ultimate answer that we come to.
Correct.
And then we're going to all work towards bringing that to pass.
Correct. And asking that question also makes you a solution. Just asking that question. Why am I here? Well, everybody in the world that we love, everyone we pull close to, everyone that's distant from us is distant for this reason. Everyone who's close is close for this reason, because they solve a problem in our life. That's the only reason they're here. Some people solve loneliness. Some people in your life because they make you laugh. That's a problem, you know, that they're solving. Some people are there because they help you get rich and help you make money. Some people help you count that money. Some people help you pay those taxes. Some people help you, like your doctor keeps running. Everybody in our life exists because they solve a problem. Everybody who's distant doesn't solve a problem anymore. To even ask that very deep philosophical question, why am I here, is an intention to solve a problem. And that's what I see in life. That's why I think school is, unfortunately, you go to school, you're going to discover what you're here for, then you're going to leave school. And you have all these kids who are now disenfranchised because nobody taught them why they exist. Everyone taught them what. Why is also, by the way, why is longevity? I always say, why is longevity? I will last longer in the race if I know why I'm doing something. Like the soldiers, after a while in Afghanistan, I heard they started to get disgruntled. They even started molesting, raping, and doing all kinds of things because they suddenly said, why are we here? Why are we still here? Why gives you the sense of longevity. It makes sure that you don't give up. I'm reminded of a story of this true experiment. This guy got some rats, put them in a basin that they couldn't get out of. I think it took, I may be wrong, someone can check maybe, I think it took like an hour for them to die, something like that. Then they got another group of rats. When they got to the threshold that they were going to die, they removed them from the thing and let them live for a bit, catch their breath, then they put them back in. This next group of rats lasted 3 days because of the hope that gave them a why to keep on going. I think what we've done in our world today with school and everything, and I'm not necessarily against school if it's done properly, but what we've done is, in giving people what is, we haven't given them a reason. And because of that, there's only two kinds of people in this world now: liabilities or solutions. There are people who are serious problems. And I think we've given birth to more problems than solutions, especially in a disenfranchised world now where your degree doesn't compute to work. You don't have the right experience, for example, because you went to university and nobody taught you the real school is life. And the real teachers should be parents. Your parents should give you your sense of identity. They should be the ones telling you why you exist. So there's a job that's happened in the world now, especially fathers. They're supposed to be the identity givers. There's a real work in the world out there right now where fathers are not in the homes. So you're seeing this sort of top boy culture. You know, everybody's just like the lost boys, creating problems out there in the world because there's no real sense of purpose. So if there's a school, I think it should exist to teach you your purpose. Why do you exist here? Why are you on this planet? It's the most fundamental of all questions. Why am I here?
What's your answer?
Why am I here? Help people win in life.
That simple. Good. Okay, so let's take it back a little bit, because I just enjoyed that segment. I wanted to really go into that, and I'm glad that you did. But let's take it back a little bit, because obviously you're here today. You've achieved a lot, and I'm guessing for you, you probably say you're just getting started, right? But sometimes who you become in later life is really determined from either some set of principles that were instilled in you, or some things that happened to you or with you, or just some profound circumstance that happened when you were a child, or when you were maybe not a child as a baby, but when you were younger, and that really kind of forms who you are. Do you feel like you've ever had a profound experience as a child that's kind of shaped who you are today?
Yeah, I've had probably a series of profound experiences. I was listening to Joe Rogan's show, and somebody said something quite interesting. Said some of the most successful people on the planet have the most traumatized experiences.
I heard that. Yeah.
And that trauma, it took me back a bit, like, oh, maybe he's right, because I looked over my life and I thought, boy, yes, there's been some traumas. I had very good parents, doctor and dentist. Came from Nigeria, though their degrees didn't mean anything here. So I saw them start again from council flat. I'm glad I went through that experience with them, and to watch them become who they are. But, early on in life, there were some things that happened that I think it broke my mom's heart when she found out, her boys were abused as children or whatever, things of that nature that happened to us as children. I think that's your first wake-up call that life isn't fair. Now, I thank God wasn't abused, but my brother fully was. I was attempt abused, but my mom walked in at the right time. But that was enough to give you a sense of life isn't fair, and you got to be a different animal in life. Up until then, probably I was an innocent lamb, and then suddenly I became a bit of a wolf. You learn to lie, you learn to trick, you learn to manipulate, you learn that, life isn't like your parents told you, I love you, you love me. Then you get to school and you're no longer mommy's boy. You have to have a little bit of, you learn to be cool. That kind of means you learn to stop being soft. Life is imbalanced. When I work out with my instructor at the gym and we do squats, he gets me on the half yoga ball to show if you want to develop the core muscles, you got to be imbalanced. That's life. You want to develop core, it's got to be imbalanced. The same woman I was talking about who said, oh, now I'm going viral. I said, I've got to protect my children. I said, you can't protect them. You got to expose them. So this is what parents have done to kids. We protected too much. You have to expose them to all the imbalances and fairness of life. Because if you don't, life will give them a crash course, and it will be worse. And so I had a crash course. That was one of my experiences. Another one of my experiences was, obviously, you're brought up in a very religious home. My parents sowed good seeds in us. So I was always afraid. My dad said, don't join bad gang, all those advice. So you're always afraid, you don't bring babies to my house, so you're always thinking of these things. So you have a bit of a moral guide, not the strongest, maybe 15%, but it's there. It's enough to hold you back. And then I have an experience where we got burgled, which was probably a traumatic experience, because that taught me life isn't safe. Suddenly these burglars take your pictures just to let you know we know where you are. You're looking over your shoulder and you're young, so you're thinking. I remember we got burgled recently, not too long ago. My children were petrified. They couldn't sleep at night. They saw mud footprints in our house and all kinds of stuff. So that was an experience. But in that burgling, I told you I had a spiritual experience, where I was in my house in this dream. I crawl through a hole and I see a room filled with people, and they're all crying, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And I said, these people should be crying for me, not Jesus. And I remember making a prayer that night saying, God, if you're real, you need to show yourself. I used more colorful language, but that was and I have this experience. People are screaming Jesus. And at the time I was pursuing a career in music and modeling, and we were getting quite far. We had a record deal at the time. And I come out of this experience and see my brother awake in the corner, because his voice said, this is what I've called you to do. And my brother's awake, and I said, what's happened? My brother tells me he had this dream. Crawls through this hole, he sees these people screaming Jesus. So we had the same dream, same time, same night. And that was one of the wake-up calls. Then being expelled, suspended from schools and all this, and seeing a girl in school tell me about God, and having an encounter with God gave me a sense of, I'm created. I have a reason. I have a purpose. My teacher said when I passed my A-levels and got into law school, my teacher looked at me because he would see me preach around the place. He said, no. I now know there's a God. And I said, why? He said, you were the dumbest. You could not have done that. My teacher said to my parents, don't give this guy high hopes. He's not going to law school. Looked at me and said, you're not going to be a lawyer. And when I got saved, suddenly, one of the first things, people don't believe you can hear the voice of God. But when I got saved, I had an opportunity to preach to my parents. So I got the biggest King James Version Bible I could find. I figured they needed a big Bible, and I preached to my whole family. I preached about life and death and the power of the tongue, because Nigerians have a way with our words, cuss our kids out and all kinds of stuff. So I said, we've got to stop using these languages. My dad just slammed his Bible down halfway through. He said, this is the biggest load of craps.
Craps.
When I say all the Holy Ghost left me at that moment, and I'm fuming now. I'm angry. Like, this is what the Bible says. I'm even shaking in anger. Suddenly my mom said, Tobi, it appears you have a spirit of anger. Now my family are casting the devil out of me, the preacher. So I walked back to my room offended with God, like I came to preach and you've done this to me. He said, I told you to preach. I said, yes. He said, but I didn't tell you to use words. Okay, so God, how do I preach it? Grab a pen and notepad. I grabbed a pen and notepad, and he said, tidy your bedroom. Okay. I'm now thinking he's patronizing me. He said, number 2, start behaving in school and get good grades and honor your father and mother in that way. Okay. Said number 3, stop answering them back. How about you learn to just be humble? I tell you, within a year, my entire family came to God. And then I see the scripture that says, let your light shine so men can see your good works and give glory to God in heaven. Not preaching, yelling, screaming everywhere. That's why I say success is fruit. That's all success is. When you have fruit, you don't need to talk anymore. People can argue with what you say all day long, but they can't argue with results. They can argue with you on property, for example. Oh, this guy don't know what he's talking about. You got a multi-million portfolio. What do I have? Why are we talking? Why are we discussing anything? My fruit is talking for me. That's success. Success is fruit. It's when you no longer have to talk because the fruit talks for you. It speaks. So those were my defining moments. I think God is a big reason for this force called why. And why is a force. You become a force when you know why.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think that's probably the biggest identifier for me.
I mean, those are 3. I mean, those are 3 core moments in anyone's life. We could literally go through each of them individually. But the conversation we're having downstairs, I mentioned I'm agnostic. You obviously, introduced as Apostle, right? Yeah. So I mean, after the conversation, actually, I'm unsure as to how to categorize you, right? But so for context, what's your view on Christianity?
That Jesus never came to set up Christianity. Christianity is an invention of people. Christianity was a name given to us by the Greeks as a derogatory term. It basically means little Christ, like it's a patronizing term. Oh, look at these baby Christians. Look at these people trying to be like Jesus. But when they saw Jesus, they said, what matter of man is this? They couldn't limit him. In fact, God never wanted to be limited to any name. Even when Moses said, who shall I say? Send me. He said, I am that I am. I'll be what I'll be. No, you come and limit me. Christian is a box. It's a big limitation. Because suddenly now, oh, you're a Christian, you can't be rich. Oh, you're a Christian, you can't have problems. Oh, you're a Christian, don't you talk like that. You see how Jesus talked? He looked at people, he said, you sons of snakes, brood of vipers, who told you cross land and sea to make one convent, turn them into twice the son of hell that you are? He knew how to cuss. If he needed to cuss people out, he knew how to cuss them out. They looked at him and a prostitute comes and starts washing his feet with her hair. Just imagine the scene, drying them with tears, drying them with her hair and washing them with her tears. They said if he was a man of God, he'd know what kind of woman this was. He's at parties, drinking. Today, most Christians don't go there. It's like light's afraid of darkness, really? I commented on Shadeborough, a post on Shadeborough. It received over 1,000 likes or something like that. Someone said, Pastor, what are you doing on here? See what I mean? It's this limiting box that if you really met God for real, and, to me, God is Jesus. If you met him for real, he wouldn't be Christian to you. In fact, he wasn't Christian. They killed him because they were like, you're not even Christian. Even Christ wasn't Christian. So what hope do we have? He looks at him and said he's a blasphemer, a liar, a drunkard, a friend of sinners. So even God isn't Christian enough, so how can I be Christian? So no, I don't consider myself Christian. I consider myself a child of God.
Wow. So you're agnostic?
I'm not an agnostic. Agnostics are unsure.
Yeah, so tell me why you're different from me.
I'm very certain. I know him personally. I'm very certain. I have a strong relationship with God. I can tell you what he said to me this morning. I can tell you what he said to me last night. I'm very certain. I prayed into this meeting. I spoke to him about it. We said some things this morning on the car drive on the way down. You think I'm a crazy person. You'll see me in my car if you were next to me laughing and talking to someone and hearing something back and talking back. I know, how Paul said, I know in whom I've believed. I know him. I don't know about him. I know him personally. So,
that's interesting, because for me, I've always been, I'm not trying to find a solution, but the reason I'm agnostic is because I believe there's a God. I'm spiritual, like you. I have conversations. I'll raise my hands up. We don't have chats in the car. Yeah, I know that stuff. So definitely not as close as you are. But I have this deep belief that religion is being used to captivate and has been politicized. But at the same time, just in terms of yourself, you read the Bible, you believe in the Bible, you believe in the scriptures. But you're saying you're not religious. So what's that middle ground? What's that middle ground of? Because for me, I believe that, the words in the Bible, some of the words in the Bible, there's also some of the things you spoke about, Proverbs, all of these kind of things. When you're like, that's an entrepreneur, you should be reading that stuff anyway, right? This stuff is going to help you. And then there's other things which you're like, well, if you're a well-principled human, you should be reading this. So there's some things that I see in that context, in that light. But for those who obviously want to believe in something, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, so I believe in community, this collective vision, idea, and direction. So I do believe in that. But if it's not religion, then what is it?
Again, I was in a country I won't disclose because I could probably be arrested for this, but a Muslim man asked me, gave his life to Jesus. After asking me a question, what's the truth? What's the truth? He said, I've searched everything. That I've read the Quran. I've read on Sikhism, Buddhism, science, everything. What's the truth? I remember that question by Pontius Pilate. What is truth? Some people find God through thinking, and then they get to spirituality. Some people start at spirituality, then have a crisis of thinking. Later, they go, oh my goodness, this doesn't make sense. A fish swallowed someone, and then what's a unicorn about? And there's contradictions here, there, and everywhere. Then they have to overcome those. And I went through my intellectual contradictions as well, and my study on what is truth. Because you can study science and history and everything, and all these things will point. You can even study prophecy, and all these things you'll say, wow, this is profound. At the end, intellectually, you'll come to a conclusion that there must be a God. But what's the main difference? For me, it's either the arrogance or the absolute knowledge of a God who says, I'm the only way. Every other person will say many routes, ways. He said, I'm the only way, and let me tell you something else. Narrow is the way that leads to life, and few find it. Broad and wide is the way of destruction. Many walk it. That was probably just that statement alone. I don't know, it's either arrogance or it's confidence. And it's absolute knowledge or it's complete stupidity. And so in a world where if there's someone saying I'm the only way, that means there is, people talk about my truth, the world of subjectivity. So anything goes in this fluid world now,
My truth.
I think it was Oprah Winfrey that created the term "my
Oh,
truth,"
my
and it's messed up the world because now it's a confusing place, and we won't
You can't
touch
tell
on.
me. It's my truth.
Yeah,
You're telling me.
So if there's my truth, there has to be the truth. There has to be some level of objectivity. And if I was the devil, I would make many roads, as many as possible. And I'll throw as much confusion as possible. And I'll make those roads, you can go to certain places and find fake anything, fake Gucci, fake Rolex, fake, you can go to Dubai and go to a souk somewhere and you can find all the fake stuff you want and nobody would know it's fake. Everybody around you will think, "Ooh, that's real. Wow. Wow." I remember before getting my first Rolex, I had a fake one. I found it in Tesco. I thought it was real. I found it in the bread section in Tesco and I thought I hit the jackpot. Gold Rolex. Put it on my wrist. Everybody, whoo, what's that? Is that how you're rolling? Now, every time I have a conversation, I'm having conversations like this. I'm putting my wrist up to talk. I'm shaking hands. Let people know I'm wearing a Rolex. One day I wanted to sell it to make some money. So I go to a jeweler because I saw we buy gold and silver. I go to a jeweler. He looks at it. And I saw he get this thing. He's looking at it. It took him some time. Suddenly he puts it on the table, gets a hammer. Psh. I said, "What the hell have you done?" He said, "Sir, it's a fake. Don't bring this thing here again."
Take this thing out my shop.
I was like, wow. But even to him, he needed certain things to even know it's real. If I was the devil, I'd make as many different things that look as real as possible because to me, one of the scariest questions, okay, science can say I'm the result of a Big Bang, but they can't tell me who started it. So now they're coming up with multiverses and other things just to explain. They can't tell me why there's so much complexity in my own eyeball. They can't even explain that. But everybody believes it because I think it's easier to believe that because then you're not accountable to some cosmic host. At the end of the day, you live your life in your truth. And any decision you make, you'll be your own judge and you're not accountable. So you'll scorn religious people, but I think the atheist is the biggest fool than the person who's walking the wrong road. Because the atheist is looking at such complexity. The atheist isn't even stupid enough to say the phone you have is a result of an explosion that suddenly resulted in order and perfect complexity. Yet they believe that this complicated universe, it's a laziness of thought. That's all that atheism is. Atheism is laziness. It's laziness. Even the greatest atheist, Dawkins, was laughed at on BBC when he started saying, well, obviously nothing can create something, but whatever nothing is. So he's trying to define the nothing that created something, and everyone started laughing. He said, "Why are you laughing?" And that's why the fool says there's no God. Only a stupid person, somebody who doesn't think, says there's no God. But the agnostic says, "I don't know which path. Where is this?" The believer in Jesus says, "Only way, truth, and the life." They're confident enough to say, "I've searched and I've..." You know how the money checkers can now touch real money and fake money because they've touched the fake so much they know what the real feels like. You can touch so much that you know what real feels like. And to me, when that man asked me what's truth, I said to him, "Sir, truth is love. Nothing more, nothing less." Every human being on this planet, whether they're looking for it, money, whether everybody is a theist, everyone has a God. And that God is presenting something to them. And the thing that is presenting is love, belonging, warmth, comfort. I'll take care of you. Whether it's money, drugs, alcohol, all these guys who watch football, who are, I know a man who said, "I'll disown my own kid if he doesn't support anything other than West Ham." We all have religion. Even the people who've thrown out God. In our atheist society, we've created our own 10 commandments. Thou shalt not talk against this particular community. This will get you cancelled. There's a religion. In throwing out religion, they've created religion, essentially. That's the world we live in. It's a mad world. Everybody's looking for love. Everybody. And you know when you found it. I can only tell you I know that I found it. It was a love that didn't want anything back. Love that totally wanted to give. Everyone on the planet is looking for love. I said to him, "Sir, truth is love." and your soul will recognize it when you found it. Even psychologists like Dr. Caroline Leaf discovered something. She said, as human beings, we're wired for love. That's how we were created. So addictive personality traits come because we're looking for love. There was an experiment done with rats that I saw recently where they put crack cocaine in one pipe and the rats look for it. They keep eating the crack till they get so high they die. Then they put a group of rats in a community of rats, kept the crack cocaine there, and realized the rats will only go there but never get addicted. And because the community and the sense of love and belonging they had was enough that they didn't need to have those addictive behaviors. What people are looking for is love. And so when we get to the book of First John, sorry to make this a biblical discourse, but when we get to the book of John, he says this statement, God is love. And he that loveth not knoweth not God. So the authentication of a child of God is love. And if you don't have love, you have nothing.
Wow. That's powerful, bro. Before we wrap up, I want to ask this question. And this is taking a left turn. This wasn't where the conversation was meant to go, but I'm enjoying this, so I'm just going to go with it, right? Why? And I heard, PBD, Patrick Bet-David.
Yes.
Yeah. So he spoke, he's a Christian himself, right?
Yes.
But he spoke about his respect for the Muslim religion.
Yes.
And he speaks about the declining nature of Christianity, and the Muslim religion is actually now overtaking Christianity. Yes. Why do you think that is?
3 Abrahamic faiths, or 3 sons of Abraham. Mm-hmm. Ishmael, Isaac, Yeshua. Mm-hmm. 3 sons of Abraham. Ishmael is the Arabic race. Isaac is Judaism. Jesus is Christianity. All of them are blessed. All of them. He said of Ishmael, I will bless him. But he said his hand will be against every man. Every man will be against him, and his hand will be against every man. This is sort of the Ishmaelite. Now you can go through Esau and different ones to find the Arab nations. But people generally associate Arab nations with the sons of Ishmael and Esau and different ones like that. Then you've got but these are all well-respected faiths because they all have the same Judeo-Christian background. Mm-hmm. They deviate at different points. So for Islam, Muhammad meets angel Jibril. Jibril says, the last prophet gives him some texts. And prophecies and things of that nature, and he becomes their last prophet. For the Jew, they're waiting, and for Islam, they're waiting for a Messiah still. Their Messiah is called the Mahdi. They're still expecting him to come. Jewish people also expecting the Yeshua to come, set up his kingdom, sit on the throne of David, etc. The Christian is different. The Christian believes he's already come. And he's now setting up his spiritual kingdom through us. And he's saying, make disciples of nations, teach them my ways, show them love. My respect for Muslims is their discipline. Mm-hmm. To pray that many, you can barely get Christians to pray that many times a day. They're fasting, we're feasting. They understand the law of sacrifice. For anybody to be successful, everybody has an altar. Everyone does. To be successful, something has to die on the altar for you to have been where you are today. Whether it's time with your kids that you wanted to spend, whether it was having your right to your own opinion, there's an altar in everybody's life that something has to go on that altar. Something has to die on it, whether we know it or not. We have to give up to go up. I think one of the reasons why Islam is fast growing is because of their level of discipline.
Wow, okay.
I think the beauty of the grace message is it's given us forgiveness. The sad side of the grace message is it's granted us laziness and indiscipline, because people think grace is freedom to sin when it's freedom from sin. So a lot of Christians are very sloppy. I was saying to you downstairs 3 reasons I didn't want to be a Christian. Number 1, I said, God, they're all ugly and they look like losers. They all look like they're just looking for an escape. I said, number 2, they're all broke. They have no money. I said, that's just not me. Number 3, I said that, what was my third one again? They're stupid. There's a scripture in Jeremiah where God said, my people are stupid. It's in Jeremiah. He said, my people are stupid. In Luke, he says, how much wiser are the sons of this age than the sons of the kingdom? One of my biggest regrets in my arguments with God is, why did you call us sheep? I just hate that one, Lord. Why did you call us sheep? I think he just wanted us to be sheep with him, not in this world. Because sheep are stupid. Sheep, if they don't have a shepherd, they can walk off a cliff and follow each other off the cliff and keep on following each other off the cliff. I think he wants us to be stupid with him because he's wiser than our biggest amount of wisdom. But he said, in this world, be crafty like serpents, but appear meek like doves, but be crafty like a serpent. And I think this is a side that believers have completely lost. They just have no craft and no tact.
Wow. Honestly, there's this definitely took a left turn, but I've really enjoyed it, and I think there was so many nuggets of brilliance in there for definitely people to take away. There's got to be a part 2.
I'd love to come. I'm enjoying the
Be
conversation.
a part 2, but honestly, there's so much more to go. But in wrapping up, I did say there was another final question, right? Which is the third question, which is with everything that you've done so far. I was going to ask it earlier on, but I thought, let me save it to the end. I was going to ask it in a different way. But with everything that you've achieved so far, everything that you do, what remains your need to succeed?
There's a few reasons. Some of them are deep and some of them are silly. My deepest need to succeed is God. I want him to say, well done to me when I meet him. I want to look at my father and he's proud of me. I think he's already proud of me. I work from pride. I don't work for it. But I want him to say, well done, good and faithful. I think it's easy to start well. It's not easy to finish well. And I want to finish well. That's probably my biggest reason, need to succeed, is to hear the eternal well done, the mark of a from heaven. Yeah. I think my pettier reasons are my enemies told me I couldn't. And there's no revenge like success. That table presented in their presence is a big deal for me. I love when people told me I couldn't. I love that they told me I can't. I love that they told me I failed. I love that they tell me it's impossible. I see all the comments. I see, I've got a lot of followers on different social media platforms. I see the beautiful comments and I see the ugly comments. I've had people DM me, why don't you just die? I see all the hatred. I see some people say, he failed at this. This business didn't work and that business didn't work. I love what John Maxwell said. He says, successful people are standing on top of a mountain of failures. That's all they are. They're people who dared to fail and they fail forward and they fail often. So I think that's my other reason. I think my other reasons are my children. The greatest inheritance I can give them is my example. That they saw their father. I live in front of them. I pray in front of them, eat in front of them, cry in front of them. So one of my greatest reasons is my children. I want them to see their dad. What did dad do when he failed? I'm explicit with my kids on my failures. I said, Dad was afraid here. I cried here. There was a time that I almost lost it. There was a time I wanted to leave, even your mom. There was a time I tell my kids this. I don't shield them. I don't protect them. They need to develop their immune system. They need to catch a flu. They need to experience pain and fear and all these things in doses. So they develop that immunity. So those are my reasons for succeeding, I think.
Wow. Apostle Tobi Arayomi.
Oh, God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on. Oh, no, it's been fun. Thank you. It's been worth the journey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are listening to the Need to Succeed podcast with Ibrahim Brahma. Make sure to like and subscribe for more episodes like this.